3 months ago, I had to say goodbye to my wife, my best friend, Danielle, who we lost to cancer. Today, I stand here saying goodbye to my first best friend, my dad. He was the best man at my wedding. He was a man who loved his family more than anything. And he was the funniest guy in any room he was in. One of his very best friends, Pat Walsh, often introduced him as the straight man of their comedy duo at Harvard. But anyone who was lucky enough to be in a room with Howard knows he was as funny as anyone. My humor comes from him. Every time I would do something silly just to make someone laugh, that was my dad. Every time that I jumped into a conversation, it was in hopes of making them laugh because I wanted to be funny. I wanted to be like my father. But my dad had a superpower when it came to laughter because as funny as he was, he got more joy out of letting everyone else around him cook and get the big laughs while he would sit back and live in the fun. But if you were lucky enough to get him to laugh, it was pure joy. His eyes would water, his face would get beet red, and he would nearly fall backwards. It was amazing. I attended Harvard where my father worked, and before I met anyone here, I found out that they already knew me. And that didn't just stop after I graduated from 8th grade. Anytime I met anyone that worked at Harvard, they treated me like we were old friends because my dad had told them my entire life story. Everything I was doing, everything I had done, everything I was going to do. He was the most proud father I ever met. It actually set the bar extremely high for me at Harvard because if I ever got out of line, and I did, there would be this sense of shock because how could Howard's son do wrong? And that wasn't only because of how he talked about me, it was because of how he acted with them. He made everyone feel like they were the most important person in the room when he was around them. His warmth and compassion and the care he felt for everyone was unmatched. When people found out I was his son, the response was the same every time. Oh my God, I love your father. Every time. With that much passion, with that much enthusiasm. They couldn't wait to tell me how much they loved Mr. Saltzman. That doesn't just happen with everyone. He was one of one. There was just nobody like Howard Saltzman. And that uniqueness was what made him so special. He was the human equivalent of a teddy bear, especially around his grandkids. If anyone was born to be a grandpa, it was Howard Saltzman. This man was smart, college educated, witty, wise, and then you put him in a room with children, and his conversations became nonsensical and ridiculous because he was going to bring joy to the smallest of us. Even if we had heard the same joke or phrase countless times before, he knew that would make the kids laugh, and that was his only motivation. He was going to bring children joy no matter what. I often remember thinking how loved my dad was and how special he was to so many, and then chuckling to myself because I did know another side of my dad. What made me chuckle was that this was a side of himself that many probably didn't know, but after I share it with you, you'll likely find it amusing too. My dad loved sports. He loved Duke Snyder, Jackie Robinson, the Brooklyn Dodgers. Then when the Dodgers moved to LA and the Giants moved to San Francisco, he fell in love with everyone from Willie Mays to Barry Bonds to Buster Posey. A core memory for me was watching the Giants win Game 5 of the 2010 World Series and driving as fast as I could to my childhood home to hug my dad because we finally won it all. He loved the 49ers and the Warriors, and he always loved watching Stanford and Cal and Santa Clara and all the other Bay Area teams. Baseball, football, and basketball were his absolute favorite sports, and he got so much joy out of watching his favorite teams win. But for anyone familiar with Bay Area sports, winning didn't always come, and my lovable teddy bear of a father would become a completely different person when his favorite teams were losing. And here's the part that needs to be told on a day of remembrance like today. from such a sweet and caring man. That same patience he had for everyone in his actual life ended instantly when he would watch games. And I do mean instantly. We'd be sitting at home watching a 49ers game, and the other team would win the coin toss, and my dad would get agitated. The team had already lost. The Niners would kick off, and it would be a touchback, and he'd be calm. The other team's offense would come out, first play from scrimmage, quarterback would drop back, complete an 11-yard pass, first down, and before the whistle even blew for the play to end. Well, it's going to be like this all day. They're never going to stop him. If the 49ers were losing at halftime, my dad would need to walk away and go outside. My dad and his next door neighbor, John, both had beautiful front yards during some down 49er seasons because they would end up puttering out front in the second half of many games. We'd sit down to watch the Giants. Top of the first inning would begin. Our pitcher would start the game with 2 strikes, needing just one more strike to strike the batter out. My father, before the third pitch, you see, we can always get 2 strikes, but we can never strike them out. I'd be sitting there thinking that it's going to be like this all day, and just shake my head and laugh. I often thought during those times how lucky I was to have a father who could find a way to be so rational about things that actually did matter, like staying at work to make sure a colleague felt comfortable in their first year teaching, or leaving work early to make sure he was at a game that Carrie or I were playing in. But I swear, if James Harden takes another shot, I mean, look at that beard. Does he think he looks good with that beard? Does anyone else get to shoot on this team but him? And then, of course, if those same games turned out to be games we win, he'd be right there to say, you see, you just have to have a little faith. You gotta believe in these guys. I am the luckiest son on the face of this earth. And I know that I've been given some bad breaks, but I have an awful lot to live for.